Hello everyone, this is the Mining Geologist and I'm back again with another very exciting and very informative tutorial. I know you guys are thinking there was a delay between the previous video and this video, and I promised you that I will be more active, but a lot of unexpected things happen in this life. And that's exactly what happened to me. I was tested positive with COVID, and it was the first time for me. And it was really a tough experience. I hope that none of you is going to experience that because, to be honest, I felt like I was going to die. But thankfully, here we go again and doing these tutorials together, and hopefully some of you are enjoying them and finding them beneficial. So let's jump into the tutorial. So we are going to continue from where we stopped last time. So I don't want to just, throw some complicated scripting at you and doing a lot of complicated things. So we're doing this slowly, and we get into more advanced stuff. And I don't want to make tutorials about regular things that you can find by yourself. I just tend to make, these tips and tricks that might help you to do things or save you some time. And today we're going to see one of these kind of things. And I'm sure that a lot of Micromine users are going to enjoy this. And even though if you're not a Micromine user, you can apply this with whatever package you have that have access to Python, because we need to use Python to do this kind of thing. So without further ado, let's go and check how this works. Now we have the script editor in here, and you can see that I have a new tutorial. So this was from the past tutorial. Go and check it out. It's exactly the one previous to this one, but maybe you will be watching this in the future and you will be wondering where can I find the previous tutorial. So I will put a link in here or a link in the description in which you can just go and access that tutorial. So basically what we've done, for people who are not following, what we've done in the previous tutorial is for people who are not familiar with DataFrame, so what we've done is we converted somehow the block model, the attributes inside the block model, into a data frame. So that's basically like an Excel sheet, all the different tables, attributes, rows, columns. We have access to these in Python, and we can manipulate them the way you can manipulate them in Excel. So for example, if you have the block size, you can create a new column in which you calculate the volume, and we can see that it's the first thing that we start with in this tutorial. So basically now, since the block model is now a data frame, we can manipulate that easily in Python. We can generate whatever chart that we want. You can, if you're good at machine learning and you have this, amazing thing that you've created or you want to test, you can use that the block model as a data frame. And that's the power of Python, and that's one of the best things I like about Micromine. It's, if there's a limit in the tools in Micromine, with just this Python integration, you have like unlimited options and things that you can do. Okay, so you can see this is what we've created in the past video. It's basically we converted the block model into a data frame so that we will be able to manipulate that, and we've generated some charts and so on. You can go and check the previous video. But now we're going to start here. So basically, I'm going to assume that you've watched the previous video. And if you did not, please go and watch that, because this is going to be like the second part of that video in which we are going to try a trick that I'm sure that you're going to like. So basically, what we are going to do is, let me go and run this and show you what are we going to do. So basically, after I run this script, I will be able to generate a report. You can see that we have this report, the amazing gold deposit. So that could be a title, and you can see that we have some values in here. So ignore the values and everything like that. This is not like this is a dummy report. It's just to show you how it works. So, but this is not how we do reports usually. But you can see that we have a lot of numbers here, which is not a good thing to do, by the way. And yeah, so you can see that we have some grades, we have some tonnages, and we've generated a table with the volume tonnages. We have a date in here, and we have the title. We have like these titles also, and we can also integrate some figures, and that's really amazing. So this tutorial is about how to generate ready reports from Micromine based on a template that you have. I know that sometimes you need to change a lot of things, but if you have something like a small analysis, like a 2-page report or whatever that you can generate and send to the client directly, and some of these reports will have like some generic words that you can just replace with the new project's data. You can create these reports automatically using Python and Micromine. So that's exactly what we are going to create today. Okay, so let me go and delete this one so that you guys know that I'm not just making this up. So what we are doing now is if we go on and right click and choose open input file, that's to see all the different attributes that we have in the block model. You can see that we have the coordinates, the block sizes, and we have the different domains, density, the grade, and so on in the attributes. So what we've done here, since this block model, all of these attributes are now stored inside a data frame that we call dfnum. So please go and check the previous tutorial so you understand why we called it this way. Okay. So basically what we're doing here is that we're creating an attribute called volume. And what is that attribute? It's basically taking the east, the north, and the block sizes. We multiply these with each other, and that's how we get the volume of the block. And then what we do is we created another data frame. You can see we say this is how to create an attribute. You just take the data frame, and then between two brackets, square brackets, you put in the name of the new attribute, and then you pass in the thing that you want to do. So for example, you can say volume multiplied by 10, or maybe you can multiply two different attributes that you have inside the table. So we have the volume now, since we've created that here, and we're multiplying that by the density to get the tonnage. So now we have the volume and the tonnage inside our data frame. That's really easy and simple. So that's the exact same thing that you do in Excel. Now the next thing what I'm doing here is it's basically I'm grouping all the different rows by unique values in the pre-class. So let's go to the pre-class and see what we have here. So in the pre-class we have END for indicated. This is basically the resource classification. So you have indicated, you have measured, and what do we have also? So if you want to see the unique values, by the way, you can just click on this one, and you can go to statistics, and you can see that we have inferred, measured, and indicated, and you can see that we have a blank one, which is some resources or some blocks that were not classified as indicated, measured, or inferred. So we have that as a blank one. So you keep that in your mind, okay? And you can see that unique values are 4. So basically what we're doing here by dfnum, which is our data frame group by, we're grouping the rows by the pre-class. So we are going to filter by unique by these unique values. So for example, we're going to say show me only the blocks with the pre-class indicated. So it's going to filter all of these. Then what it's going to do, it's going to look at the tonnage and the volume and create and calculate the sum for the tonnage and the volume. Okay, so it's going to do that for all the different attribute, for the different unique values or classes in our case, and you can choose whatever thing in here. So maybe you want to do it by elevation, or you can do it by, I don't know, by some specific um, grades or whatever. So you can use this group by to filter specific, values, and then do a calculation, to these filtered values. So for example, you filter only the indicated and then calculate the sum of the values inside the tonnage, the sum of values inside the volume, and so on. So you get the idea. So this is what we get. We get a small, table in which we have the pre-class. So this is the one with non-classified resources. We have the indicated. So this is basically the sum of all the values in the tonnage column in with the class indicated. Okay, so we do the same thing for inferred, measured, and so on. So you can see how we've calculated the different tonnage and volume for each class that we have. And basically I'm printing that here to show you how it works. Okay, so we don't need that anymore. Oh, just let's keep it. Now, the trick is here. This is exactly how we are going to generate the things. So the first thing that you need to create is the report template. Okay, you need to create a report template like this one. So it could be whatever report that you want. You just create all the text and everything that you need. But the trick is everything that you want to replace in the report with something that you calculate or you extract from the block model or from the PIT or from whatever thing that you want to create. So basically you use these two brackets in here and pass in an ID. So let's call this an ID. So you say project dash name, and you can see I'm using that same one, project dash name. So if I change, for example, project name to, I don't know, mining geologist, whatever I find, this project name is going to be replaced with mining geologist. Okay, if I say tonnage, for example, total tonnage, this is going to be replaced by the total tonnage every time. Okay, average grade is going to be replaced by the average grade, and so on. And you can see also that I have a table in here. Basically, to create a table, all you have to do is to pass in this. You create a table, the different columns in here, and then you create one single row in there in which you just copy and paste this one. Of course, people needs to be familiar with Python to understand this one. So basically you use these the percentage symbol and then tr and then end it by the percentage. But then you do for item in resource report. This is basically needs to be an attribute that you will iterate over in your script. We'll see that in a moment. And item could be anything. You can see for X in resource reports or for attributes or for whatever. But then you need to make sure that you use like item.class, item.volume, item.tonnage. So these later on needs to exist in your in your script, so that the script knows where to insert all the different values that you want to create. And then you end this by this code here, which is percentage mark tr end for this to end to know that when the for loop ends, so you don't insert anything in here. So I know that seems a little bit complicated, but I'm gonna try to make this simple for you when we look at the script. But of course you need to be familiar with Python in order to understand this one. And you can see also that we have a chart in here that we are going to replace this with an image. So let's go back. Okay, so to do all of this, we need a specific library which is called docs.tpl. You need to import from docs.tpl, import docs template and inline image. Basically, docs template, this is to allow us to use the template, the document template that we've created. And the inline image is basically to insert images to the report. And then we need this one, docs.shared. Import mm. This is basically to control the size of the image in millimeters. So we're gonna say that the height is, I don't know, like 160 millimeters. The width is is that, and so on. We'll see this in a moment. Okay, so let's go back. So basically now we're iterating over the different rows inside the data frame. Okay, so this is how we do it. So we use iter rows and we iterate over the index and rows in the data frame. Just keep this in your mind that now we are iterating one row at a time, and we've seen this in the previous tutorial. And what we're doing is, so basically you can see here that we have an empty list. What we're doing is we're appending a dictionary. So basically table.items, this is the empty list, and we're appending some values to that list. But they're not just one value, it's a full dictionary. In this dictionary, what we have the key is class, and another key called volume, and another key called tonnage. And this reminds us of the different, sorry for this ad. So this reminds us for about these different columns in here. So we have class, volume, and tonnage, and you can see that we have volume, class, and tonnage in here. So make sure that if you have a capital T, it needs to be capital T in there, capital V needs to be capital V in here. So we have class that when we said item.class, we mean this class. When we said item.volume, we mean this one. And for the tonnage also. Now, okay, this is the key, but what is the value? So basically we have row.preclass. So if we are iterating over the different rows, when we reach so basically when we the class here, we need to insert the pre-class. So we look at the table and say, what is the pre-class for the first row? So now we're doing some iteration. It's END. So here class equal to END. And then we go to the volume. Since we've created a volume here, we created a volume attribute. We don't have it here, but we have it inside the data frame. So we say volume, so go and check the volume for that specific row, and so on. Okay, so we insert these dictionaries inside this table, but you can see that we're not iterating over this one. By the way, we're iterating over this small table in here. So we go to the first row in here and say, what is the tonnage, what is the volume, what is the class, and iterate over all of these and store them as dictionaries. So that's what this for loop is doing, but we're going to use this to insert the values inside the table. So the next thing is basically I'm printing the different items in here. You can see that this is how it looks like. You can see that we have class. So the first class, since we don't have any class assigned to that one, we have an empty string in here. The volume, it's this volume, the tonnage is that, and so on. We go to the next one, the class is END, the volume is that, the tonnage is that, and so on. This is basically, you can see it is a list of different dictionaries. Okay, and then what we are going to do is we are going to create a variable. We call that chart. Basically, I passed in the path to an image. So basically what I'm going to do now is if I go to this one and click on home, and then I'm sorry, go to physics and generate screenshot, I can generate a screenshot to that specific, with that same name to this specific path. And then what I can do is, since I know this could be like multiple different images, like could be a histogram, I don't know, different charts and a plan view and so on. And so basically this is how to get the date of today, by the way. So we import date time, import date. That's how we've inserted the date inside the report. And then this is the trick. This is exactly what we need to do. So you create a doc, you call that doc whatever you want, and use docs template, and you pass in the path to that template that we've created, this template. You pass in the path to that template, and then all we have to do is, remember when we said that we need to create some sort of IDs in here? So we said that, for example, we have project name. Basically you can pass in, you say project name, you write it the same way you written that inside the template, and then you call it, for example, amazing gold deposit. Let's call this, I don't know, amazing tutorial, for example. So you see that that works, okay? The resource report, this is basically we pass in the table items, the dictionaries that we've created. So this is going to create, this is the one that I told you that we need to use. So for example, if you look at the table, you see that we have resource report. That's basically where we are using this one. And we pass in a list of dictionaries to that one. We've seen how to create these to fill that table. The date is going to be today, which is this one that gives us today's date. And we have the total tonnage. It's basically we take the tonnage column from here, and we look at the sum of all the different tonnages that we have for the indicated, measured, and so on. And then we divide that by 1 million because we don't want to get like a very long, number there. So we don't want to have like a bunch of like something like this in the report. So we divide that by 1 million. So we will say like we have like 5 million tons or 500 million tons. But you can also make it like we don't have like 1,000 decimal. So as you can see in the report, so you can also do that in here if you want so. And you can see the average grade is basically we're looking at the grade column and we're calculating the mean from that, which is the average. We've assigned a cutoff of 66, so it's just a number that I've thrown in there. It's not like a real cutoff or whatever, just to show you that this works. And now we have the chart in here. It's basically we use that inline image, and then we pass in the template. So we're going to say that we're going to insert this image inside that specific template. And then this is the path to the image that we want to insert, which is this path. You can also use this one directly in here, but I like to assign things to different variables. We have the chart in here. And then if you want the specific height and width, you can assign them in here. And basically the mm here is the one that I told you about from docs, docx shared dot, import this is for controlling the image size in millimeters. You can play around with these and until you get something that you like. And the good thing is that if you assign the same values, all the images in your reports are going to have the same size, which is something that you should do. And then all we have to do is we say doc.render context, which is context this one. We're going to render all of these values inside our document. And then doc.save, and we pass in the path and the name of the document that we want to save. And this is going to generate the report for you. So as you can see, guys, what you can do with this one is if you have some values from Micromine, I know that what we do in resource reporting is, or anything related to mining, is that you will be double checking from the table inside your software or Micromine, and then going back to the table to Excel, and then trying to then compare that with Word. So you make sure that everything is okay. You didn't do any typos or anything like that. But if you do it this way, you know that the same values from Micromine are going directly to your report, and you will have that peace of mind. And I know that not everything can be automated, so some people might be thinking you cannot generate a resource report directly, so there will be some interpretation and things like that, but this is not what I mean by this one. It's basically if you have something generic that you do a lot of time, maybe you have that small report that you integrate it as, in the end of your report, or some sort of analysis in which you integrate, or maybe generating just the tables. So you can do that automatically without wasting your time. You can make a generic template and you can insert values whenever you have something new. So I really like this method and I tend to use it a lot, and I hope you guys will find this useful. So let me just run this again to show you that when I change this to the amazing tutorial, it works. So I'm not cheating or anything. And if you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe and follow me on LinkedIn and Facebook. I share a lot of content in there also. So, and I hope this tutorial was informative for you guys. And as you can see, I'm not cheating. That's the amazing tutorial in there, and it's everywhere in here. And I hope this, and you can see this is the image. And I hope this tutorial was informative, and please subscribe, like this video, share it with anyone who might benefit from this one, and with that being said, see you in the next time.
Information and check the links, leave a like and please subscribe.